Every farm has a story. When it comes to dairy farming, these stories are often only heard by the animals raised, the land stewarded, and the family that makes it all possible. Join me, Dairy Gal Val, as I interview individuals from across the dairy industry, both within the United States and across the globe, discussing topics like farm management, the food industry, ag business and technology, and most importantly, their farm story. This is the Dairy Hour Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Dairy Hour Podcast. I am your host, Val Levine, or Dairy Gal Val, as you can find me on social media. This episode is brought to you by 4D Ag Fashion and 4D Ag World, two sister ag businesses that are based out of Texas. One of my favorite things that they have are the calf coats. I love them. We have been switching all of our calves coats into these 4D Ag Fashion ones. They are all buckles, no Velcro, which is huge when hay and hair is concerned for the stickiness of the Velcro. They have held up really awesome. And they also do, along with their sister companies, 4D Ag World, they have a ton of different waterproof clothing options, also barn rubber, barn metal, barn fans, all sorts of different things. So if you're looking for something, give them a check first. And if they don't have it, they might be happier, or they might be really happy to see what you're looking for and see if they can help you out. So give Elizabeth and her team a call if you have any questions. You can also check them out at 4dagfashion.com and 4dagworld.com, or you can find them on social media. They are really great there. So tell them Dairy Gal Val sent you if you touch base with them. So, hi, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the small ag business mini series that I just had. It was a lot of fun to get to see how different ag businesses have started up and are working all over the country, which has just been fascinating to me, and also to connect you guys, our ag people or our non-ag people, to some different new products to see and just some new businesses that are doing some really exciting things. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate that. I want to start off, I guess it would be the official, unofficial start of season 2 of the Dairy Hour podcast. And I want to take a second to thank you all so much for giving me a chance as a podcaster and doing all of that stuff. I'm so excited to just see those numbers grow and see all the people that are listening to my podcast, as I'm a huge podcast listener myself. So I really enjoy interviewing different people and getting different people's perspectives, seeing, how they got to where they are. Their ag story is so special and neat for me to get to be a part of. So I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. If there's someone that you feel you would love to hear from on the podcast, please shoot a message my way. I would love to hear your ideas, hear from you on who you want me to talk to here on the podcast. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a life update. Things have been absolutely crazy the past few months since I've spoken to you last. So I guess the break in between season 1 and the small business mini series was much needed, as life has been running a million miles an hour, and I'm loving every minute of it, but it does get a little bit exhausting sometimes. So I guess the beginning of September, our county fair runs pretty much the week before our school starts. So it's really busy trying to A, get ready for harvest season on the farm, B, get ready for the fair, to which we also bring our food truck. You can normally find me in the food truck almost the entire time of our county fair doing that. We also, the kids and I enjoy bringing our goats to the fair. We bring goats, not cows, because when you bring cows to the fair, you have to sit there with them, all the time to make sure the second that they lift their tail, you're up cleaning them up so they don't make a big mess. Goats are much more low maintenance at the fair, much easier to kind of make sure they're good for the day, check on them a couple times throughout the day, make sure everything is set. And it's kind of a set it and forget it kind of thing, which makes life a little bit easier when I have three kids to juggle, plus being in the food truck and all the other things going on. So that was a really great week at County Fair. I think we brought 5 goats. So all of the kids showed a goat. I showed a goat, and actually my niece showed her goat that she's had for a couple years. So we always have a lot of fun doing that. Then we got right into the beginning of school and getting all of that organized, getting things together, which if you're a mom or a dad, you know the craziness of getting ready for school and just getting those starting school jitters. The girls have started 3rd grade, which is crazy to me to think that they're in 3rd grade already, and just the differences in what they're expected to do at school has jumped up a huge level. So that's been a huge adjustment the past couple months, trying to get them adjusted to, not just little kid work, but now they're really having to put their thinking caps on and actually put in some hard work at school. So we're trying to transition into that and keep them motivated to do well at school. And our little guy, Owen, he started kindergarten this year, which has been a lot of fun. And I think it's been really good for him to get to school in a more full capacity as a kindergartner. He did go to a pre-K at our elementary school last year, so he was already familiar with some of the teachers, some of the things, and the routine of how school works. But definitely kindergarten is a big step for the little guy, and he's definitely enjoying riding the bus with his sisters. As last year when we had to drop him off and pick him up, um, he was not very happy that he had to get dropped off and picked up and couldn't ride the bus with big sisters. So he's really taken a liking to doing that. I've been doing quite a bit of traveling for different dairy um, ex- experiences, I guess you could call it. I got to go to World Dairy Expo for 2 days, which is in Madison, Wisconsin, back in early October. I got to work in the Dairy Management Inc. booth as part of my role on National Dairy Board, do a few interviews with that, and just get out there and talk to farmers, make sure that they realize the things that Dairy Checkoff is doing for them. So with milk, milk is a commodity, and dairy farmers actually pay in a little bit out of every 100 weight of milk that they sell. They pay in to a checkoff program, which is some of their money goes to a local program, some of it goes to a national program, and those programs, while they do interconnect a little bit, they are two separate entities. And what that does is help promote dairy, do research on the benefits of dairy, and all sorts of different things like that that are helping make sure that milk stays um, on the forefront of people's minds and people realize the benefits of consuming dairy in their daily lifestyle, because it is important. We know that. It's just making sure that as people get more removed from agriculture, it's to make sure that people still realize that yes, your milk is fresh. Yes, your milk is local. Yes, it is responsibly produced and it is sustainably produced. And farmers are, in fact, doing a really great job. So that is super exciting to me. I love getting out there and talking to different people. I also love going to World Dairy Expo and getting to walk around the trade shows, meeting all sorts of people from around the country and even some people from around the world. Always great to hear about different operations of different sizes, and then people that just have completely different philosophies, because you can always learn something from talking to someone else. Um, you definitely never stop learning in life. And if you do, then that's not a good thing. So you should definitely always keep learning and talking to people and getting different ideas, trying new things. And sometimes you talk to a couple different people, you get multiple ideas, and sometimes a combination of those ideas are what actually works for you. So that's really important. And it's just a really great gathering, not to mention the University of Wisconsin Dairy booth, where they have lots and lots of grilled cheese to eat. They do different cheeses of the day on their grilled cheese sandwiches. And of course, you have to get a chocolate milkshake to go with it because otherwise, why did you wait in the line for grilled cheese if you're not going to get a milkshake to go with it? So definitely had a lot of fun out there, ate a lot of really good food, met some really awesome people, and got to see some awesome people that I already knew. So that was a lot of fun. Then actually, I got to go to Chicago in mid-October and go to the IDF World Dairy Summit, which was absolutely mind-blowing. It was the first time in like 30, maybe a little bit more than 30 years that the World Dairy Summit was hosted in the United States. So getting to experience that was just eye-opening to meet all of these different people that came in to one location from all of these different countries. I want to say it was 55-ish different countries from around the world, all gathered at the World Dairy Summit. And we got to sit down on different sessions, talking a lot about sustainability, about dairy climates in your country, just hearing the different things that farmers around the world are facing and being able to learn from each other was just absolutely mind blowing and a really great experience. My mom was actually able to fly out with me and join me for the majority of the World Dairy Summit. She did come home a day early to help poor Greg at home with the kids because when we go away, obviously life on the farm still does not stop. But just getting to have some roundtables and just hallway conversations with some of the people at the World Dairy Summit was really neat. I got to meet some really cool people that hopefully, at least some of them, you will get to hear from on the podcast this coming season. And I hope to bring you some really great content around that and the people that I met there. Oh, let's see. We've also been super busy on the farm. It seems like it all happens at once, trying to get crops in. We had a large amount of problems trying to get our chopper when you think everything is ready, and then you go to chop that first load of corn, and of course, it never works out that smoothly, it seems. So we did have a lot of bumps along the way to try to get our feed in for our cows to eat for the next 12 months. We put our heads down, buckled down, and got through it. We did have a little fire scare here in September. Thankfully, I don't say I have much luck in life, but I happened to be standing outside, so I heard the fire start on the side of our dairy barn and was able to get Greg and one of the employees that works for us, get their attention. They were on the other side of my horse barn, so they could not directly see the dairy barn from where they were standing. We were able to get the fire out with a fire extinguisher really quickly, get the power cut off to the dairy barn, and thankfully avert a major crisis because all of our barns are connected. They, especially the main barn, is older, so had that fire gotten into the insulation or up into the roof, it would have spread rapidly, and I unfortunately would be telling a very different story at this point. I am extremely thankful to, obviously Greg and the employees that were right here that were able to get that fire out very quickly, but I'm also very thankful to the first responders that came in masses, especially when they heard that it was in fact a dairy barn that was on fire, knowing that our cows were inside. We were actually milking at the time, had nothing to do with the actual milking system, just one of those like freak things that happened. But they came and they ensured that the fire was in fact out and made sure that everything was good to go. Everything was cooled off and, okay at that point. And we had to run new power to the barn. And we have a good friend who is actually a major electrician. He was able to be here with some temporary supplies to get us milking again. So, I mean, we were milking within a couple hours of the fire. So that was really nice because we still had about half of the herd to milk for the evening. So being able to uh, get milking and try to keep things as consistent as possible for our cows is important. We made sure everyone was safe, which is also number one priority on the farm. It's important to keep uh, all of the people and all of the animals safe at all times. That's what we try our hardest to do. So that was a really exciting time. And then we had a couple other different mishaps that I'm not going to go into detail on, but needless to say, it's been a very trying cropping season this fall. We have managed to get in all of our corn except for a little tiny field at the end of our road that just happens to um, there was a diversion in the water. I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but it took all this water from a very large hill near the field and dumped it into the field. So that field is currently not able to be chopped. We attempted the other day, and it was just going to be a disaster that was going to end up in a lot of broken equipment and a lot of frustration. So we basically called it quits on that field. We do have enough feed, so we may call in a neighbor at some point to see if they want to get that corn off maybe when the ground is frozen, and we will go from there. But we were able to finish up chopping our corn and get in fourth cutting haylage as well. So we do have plenty of feed for our animals for the next year, which is always a good relief because, you know, as a farmer, you're counting on that crop year to provide for your animals for the next 12 months. So ensuring that we have that forage to feed our animals is so important. And it's not really a good economic option to be able to purchase in feed, not to mention if there's not a lot of extra feed in the Northeast, it kind of makes that very tricky. So we're sitting good for winter as far as our feed inventory is concerned, which is great. Now it's the big push to get ready for winter. It is November 1st, and we had our first flurry this morning, which always just makes me shudder to think of it because I may live in the Northeast, but I absolutely hate winter and I hate snow. So here we are. But I also, as the things that go around social media say, I really hate snakes and I really am not a big fan of tornadoes and hurricanes. So here I am, settled where I am, and the chances of me going anywheres are pretty slim, especially as farms don't really pick up and move very easy. So that was kind of how the fall went. I have a couple more trips coming up. Stay tuned on social media. I will be headed to Orlando for the annual Dairy Management Inc. Annual meeting, which is coming up in mid-November. And I've got a couple other little fun ventures before then. So stay tuned on social media and follow along with these little adventures. I am a huge lover of traveling. However, I'm getting a little bit tired of traveling, and it is what it is. We're going to get through it. I'm going to have fun doing it, but I'm not going to lie. I'll probably be a little bit excited when I get to kind of chill for a little bit and not do as much traveling. I knew coming into this that the end of September to middle of November was going to be quite crazy. And I'm very thankful that I have a family that supports me in what I want to do and my passion that I have for the dairy industry and for representing the dairy industry on a grander scale than just at my own dairy farm. So definitely so thankful for my family for being able to let me do that. And my kids are troopers and they're hanging in there, getting the job done, trying to keep things as normal and routine like for them is not always the easiest, but um, we're doing it. And here we are. So I have a lot of really exciting things coming up on the podcast. And I am so thankful for you guys for listening. If you have, like I said, if you have an idea for someone you want to see on here, something that you would like me to talk about, please send them my way. Please reach out via message on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. Again, if you're not following me, Dairy Gal Val on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, please do make sure you're following this podcast. Also, because the more that you rate it, the more you review it, I guess the more people see it. So if you want to make sure that you leave a rating and a review, I would very much appreciate that. And also share with a friend, tag me on social media, share a screenshot of the podcast. And I am very appreciative for all of that. Anyways, let's get into season 2. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great week.
Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to be notified of future episodes and leave a review. You can find me on most social media platforms at Dairy Gal Val or online at dairygalval.com. Thank you so much for coming to the Dairy Hour.